INEC coming forward to say it should be allowed to reconfigure BVAS ahead of the March 11 gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections will amount to seeking to tamper with the evidence. The rest, in this case, before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, represented by the Court of Appeal, is a BVAS. So if we tamper with the rest in any particular case, then of course you have already derailed the expectations and the substance of the matter before the court. And I do not think that INEC should be allowed in any way whatsoever to tamper with the evidence. If INEC goes to reconfigure, then it means that the main issue in the case, BVAS and IREV, will have changed. And the ex parte order injunction granted last Friday by the court, allowing the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party to inspect evidence and collate evidence, that order would have been rendered a nullity. INEC says that if it is not allowed to reconfigure BVAS, then the March 11 elections will probably not hold. That's blackmail.
Cheap blackmail. Cheap.
And that blackmail is unacceptable. It raises the question about the credibility of INEC as an institution and the integrity of the personalities in charge of INEC. And that is as follows. Before the elections on February 25, INEC told everybody that they were ready. They were prepared. INEC even went as far as saying that in the event of a runoff that may be invoked by Section 134 subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, that INEC had already prepared for extra ballot papers. They were preparing for the possibility of a runoff. They did not prepare for the possibility of having enough BVAS and IREV that will work on the day. So I think it will be very difficult, for many Nigerians to accept this. And, INEC keeps knocking at its own integrity. And I have said that after all this is over, I don't know how Professor Yakubu Mahmood will be able to raise his head in distinguished company in this country. INEC's chairmanship being a graveyard of reputations. And it looks like Yakubu Mahmood may go the way of some of his predecessors in that office. That's that about INEC. The second part of it is the protest by the People's Democratic Party. Well, so far, the People's Democratic Party has followed peaceful means. The party has gone to court, which is what we expect. Yesterday, the party leaders organized, a peaceful protest for about 2 hours, from around 11:15 till about 1:40 p.m. From the Legacy House, the headquarters of the PDP in Abuja, in the Maitama area, to the headquarters of INEC, where they presented a letter of protest. From the reports, it was basically a peaceful protest. The right to protest is constitutionally guaranteed. And that's why we say, okay, the political parties so far, nobody has taken the law into their hands. They've adopted the mode of peaceful protest. And that in itself is commendable. If you look at the protest letter that was received by Festus Okoye, the National Commissioner in charge of voter education, and the chairman of that committee on voter education, it talks basically that the election of February 25 was a charade. It says basically that what INEC has done is to murder democracy in Nigeria. It accuses INEC of violating both the Constitution and the Electoral Act. All of these are issues, malpractices, irregularities that the People's Democratic Party has already taken to court. And we hope, as the law stipulates, that the party will have its day in court, other political parties will have their day in court. But as I've argued elsewhere this morning, election matters are of a different species. The burden of proof is high on the part of the plaintiff. They look at substantial compliance. The burden of the presumption of regularity is on the part of INEC. So this could be big issues in the prosecution of the case. But it is good that nobody has taken the law into their hands. What will be clear to the People's Democratic Party is that the G5 governors have done substantial damage. The PDP lost its strongholds in the southeast. It lost its stronghold in Rivers, in Oyo State, in Benue, because the party was fragmented. And this is part of what we have seen in the outcome of this election. And then you had the Labour Party, which was a breakaway, more or less, in terms of the personality of the presidential candidate from the PDP. That also dealt a heavy blow to the People's Democratic Party. In 2015, the party failed to learn its lessons. It failed again in 2019. Well, would the PDP learn its lessons this time around? As for Waziri Atiku Abubakar at 76, 6 times running for the presidency, what does the future portend for him? Having raised these 2 issues, however, we know the point that he says that the protest will be continuous. As long as it is peaceful, the right to protest is in order. But I find the reaction of the APC, the All Progressives Congress, whose candidate has been declared president-elect, I find the response supercilious, contemptuous, and unnecessarily triumphal. To the extent that we have heard from Festus Keyamo, who has said that, well, yes, they were wearing a black uniform to go and protest, that these were the undertakers of the People's Democratic Party. Mr. Bayo Ononuga says that, well, Atiku should respect himself, that at 76 and as a former vice president, he shouldn't be going about running up and down, staging a protest. The APC officially has also said, people should disregard the PDP. The PDP is a fragmented opposition party. Well, I think the spokespersons for the APC should also, moderate their triumphalism. INEC has said, well, we'll look into the grievances. It's not up to INEC anymore to look into the grievances. The matter has already gone to court. But the integrity of INEC as an institution has been called to question. The credibility of its principal officers, no matter what they say, will be part of the major residue of this entire electoral process.